a beloved Father. The greatness of Saint Joseph is that he was the spouse of Mary and the father of Jesus. In this way, he placed himself in the words of Saint John Chrysostom at the service of the entire plan of salvation. St. Paul VI pointed out that Joseph concretely expressed his fatherhood by making his life a sacrificial service to the mystery of the Incarnation and its redemptive purpose. He employed his legal authority over the Holy Family to devote himself completely to them in his life and work. He turned his human vocation to domestic love into a superhuman oblation of himself, his hearts, and all his abilities, a love placed at the service of the Messiah, who was growing to the maturity in his home. Thanks to his role in salvation history, Saint Joseph has always been venerated as a father by the Christian people. This is shown by the countless churches dedicated to him worldwide, the numerous religious institutes, confraternities and ecclesial groups inspired by his spirituality and bearing his name, and the many traditional expressions of pity in his honor. Innumerable holy men and women were passionately devoted to him. Among them was Teresa of Avila, who chose him as her advocate and intercessor, had frequent recourse to him, and received whatever graces she asked of him. Encouraged by her own experience, Teresa persuaded others to cultivate devotion to Joseph. Every prayer book contained prayers to Saint Joseph. Special prayers are offered to him each Wednesday, and especially during the month of March, which is traditionally dedicated to him. Popular trust in Saint Joseph is seen in the expression "Go to Joseph," which evokes the famine in Egypt, when the Egyptian begged Pharaoh of bread. He in turn replied, "Go to Joseph. What say you do?" Pharaoh was suffering to Joseph, the son of Jacob, who was sold into slavery because of the jealousy of his brothers, and who, according to the biblical account, subsequently became viceroy of Egypt. As a descendant of David, from whose stock Jesus was to spring, according to the promise made to David by the prophet Nathan. And as the spouse of Mary of Nazareth, Saint Joseph stands at the crossroads between the Old and the New Testament. Joseph saw Jesus grow daily in wisdom and in years and in divine and human favor. As the Lord has done with Israel, so Joseph did with Jesus. He taught him to walk, taking him by the hand. He was for him like a father who raised an infant to his cheeks, bending down to him and feeding him. In Joseph, Jesus saw the tender love of God. As a father has compassion for his children, so the Lord has compassion for those who fear him. in the synagogue during the praying of the Psalms, Joseph would surely have heard again and again that the God of Israel is a God of tender love, who is good to all, whose compassion is over all that He has made. The history of salvation is worked out in hope against hope. Throughout our weakness, all too often, we think that God works only through our better part, yet most of His plans are realized in and despite our frailty. Thus St. Paul could say, to keep me from being too elated, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from being too elated. 3 times I appealed to the Lord about this, that He would leave me. But He said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. Since it is a part of the entire economy of salvation, we must learn to look upon our weakness with tender mercy. The evil one makes us see and condemn our frailty, where the Spirit brings it to light with tender love. Tenderness is the best way to touch the frailty within us. Pointing finger and judging other are frequently signs of an inability to accept our own weaknesses or own frailty. Our tender love will save us from the snares of the accuser. That is why it is so important to encounter God's mercy, especially in the sacrament of reconciliation, where we experience His trust and tenderness. Paradoxically, the evil one can also speak the truth to us, yet he does so only to condemn us. We know that God's truth does not condemn, but instead welcomes, embraces, sustains, and forgives us. That truth always presents itself to us like the merciful Father in Jesus' parable. It comes out to mercy and to meet us, restore our dignity, sets us back on our feet and rejoices for us. For as the Father says, this is my Son who died and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Even through Jesus, Joseph fears God's will. His history and his plan were at work. Joseph then teaches us that faith in God includes believing that He can work even through our fear, our frailties, and our weaknesses. He also teaches us that amid the tempest of life, we must never be afraid to let the Lord steer our course. At times, we want to be in complete control, yet God always sees the bigger picture.